Hello YouTube. I recently did a cover version of TOTO's 1983 hit Africa, and perhaps the most well-known and iconic sound of this track is the brassy synth sound, which is used almost throughout the entire track. And the sound is something like this. This sound is actually very easy to create, but a tutorial is always good, isn't it? And what you need is basically a synthesizer with two oscillators with a pulse wave on each of them, and you need a single LFO, a low-pass filter, and a modulation envelope. And I'm going to start this sound with the basic, just a square wave, a simple square wave without any filtering or envelope or anything. And the first thing I'm going to do is basically give the sounds a bit contour, which is to say that I'm going to slightly slow the attack so that it isn't so harsh. And I'm going to reduce the sustain a lot so that the sound decays somewhat slowly to a low sustain volume. Like so. And the filter type I'm going to use for this sound is a 24 decibel per octave low-pass filter with a slight hint of resonance, just sweeping it here. And you don't really need any more resonance, it will sound too synthetic. And now I'm going to contour the filter with the filter envelope, and actually the settings for this is very, very similar to the amplifier envelope, which is a medium attack, a slightly long decay, and a rather low sustain volume. And I'm also going to add release for good measure. A slightly slower release. Fast, I mean, sorry. And we've actually already got a pretty big part of the sound here, which is the basic contour of the sound. A very important thing to note is the fact that the filter envelope amount is velocity sensitive, which adds a lot of expressivity to the sound, and this is something people often forget. And basically, this allows you to shape and color the sound while playing instead of just being locked in at one dynamic level. Now, we've already got a pretty solid foundation for the sound here. And what I'm going to do now is going to play with the pulse width of our single oscillator. And we've already got something that is quite a lot more similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set LFO1 to modulate the pulse width of our oscillator. And I'm going to set the frequency of LFO1 to a very low frequency. So we get a big slow sweep across the pulse widths, and the amount should be set to high so that we get a nice animated sound. And basically, we've already got the lion's share of the sound, and there's only actually one thing missing. And the thing missing is, now I'm going to bring in oscillator 1. Oscillator 2. And it's not much difference. The first thing I'm going to do, however, is detune oscillator 2 so that it is tuned slightly lower than oscillator 1. And you can already hear the sound is much richer, but actually the main purpose of the second oscillator is to give the sound a brassy sort of attack. And if you listen to a brass sound, you can hear there's a blip in the beginning, like a bang. And we can actually recreate that very easily with our modulation envelope. And the decay of this envelope shouldn't be too much, and the amount should be very, very, very small. And I'm going to first reduce the amount. Something like this, and then I'm going to speed up the decay. And we've basically got our sound right there. And that's basically the Africa brass sound. Now, a final thing you can experiment with is keyboard tracking, which is the filter frequency is varied according to the pitch of the tone you're playing. And this means you're going to have to reduce the basic filter frequency. So it sounds like this in the high register and in the lower. This is actually a pretty good basic brass type subtractive analog sound, which you can use in a lot of tracks. Now I hope you enjoyed this video, and there will definitely be more as I'm currently playing around with my new Nord Lead. It's extremely fun to play around with. As I said, I hope you've enjoyed it, and take care and have a nice day. Bye.